I am the Eternal Saltline. I am a Haven only player. This is the first one of these I'm uploading. I just want to give you a quick rundown on my opinion on the new Haven cards. You might go, why does your opinion matter? It doesn't. I just play a lot of Haven, and I would like a shake up to Haven metagame. Currently, we've had quite a stagnant period of time, Marwyn being quite heavily predominant in almost every Haven brew. We've had a bit of flexibility when it came to Storm Haven Aggression, as well as Ward, but I don't think either of those decks quite reached the upper echelons, and towards the end of the previous metagame of Dragons, even Crest Haven in any brew was still not particularly good, just due to the overwhelming power of the aggressive decks. So let's just see if anything here changes. Let's see. Monster Literature? That is a horrific art. I love this little fellow. What do you do? Neutral, 1-1. There's a 1 case. Okay, so that's fair. This is an aggro tool, the swarming tool. Not actually terrible. Actually, probably very good in Forest. They get a fundamental base of 1-1s with the fairies. So this could be usable in some sort of tempo deck. Them, I don't think particularly good. Might be a takes 2 card though, because they are always desperate for 1-1s. Unless we get another good 1-1, another good 1-drop in Haven, this will never see play for us. World game, Neutral Amulet. Neutral Amulets are always interesting. Countdown 5. Whenever you play another card, there's another card field other than it with the same base cost. Advance this amulet down by 1. Roll 2. A neutral thing. So this is Serene with 2 additional countdown. No way to activate it, so we can't force it down faster, but will naturally count down faster, provided we're playing similar cost. So if you're doing like a 2 heavy deck, if you're doing 2 into a 2, you do this on 1, play a 2 on 2. And it would be on 3 by turn. Play another 2 that takes it down to... I don't see it, unless you're playing a lot of 1-drops. Once again, in Forest, this would be great, because I believe it would count itself. And if it does, this into like a fairy, or 2 fairy, but more realistically, just 1 fairy, let's face it. Later on, you could probably trigger this quite early in the same turn with just a lot of fairy spam, combine that with just giving Fairy Storm, maybe auto-evolving them. Maybe this is like the additional draw that Forest needs. It does seem more like a late-game draw card, just because, with the exception of 1-drops, getting repeated usage out of the countdown effect might not be worth it, and it is competing with 3-mana draw 2 in the spell slot in the neutral pool. One interesting thing for Haven in particular, we have historically one limited way to destroy our own amulets, that being Skullfane. I'm of the opinion that Skullfane has some potential in the future if we got enough Last Word amulets. But in my initial brews of Storm Haven, I would actually play Skullfane as a combo with following a rodeo turn. You'd rodeo, get a board full of birds, ready to cook, birds and tigers that was, and then you'd Skullfane the following turn to get like 3 damage, maybe 4 if you had like the 2 cost amulet or the bird, 4 damage across the board, and then just hit in with all the birds and tigers that you can. It was a neat combo. This could be another thing. I don't think it's as good as Serene in Haven, but there's a chance. If we're playing a lot of low to the ground amulets, this might be very good. Also, I'm just thinking, interactions with Rodeo and Aether could be interesting. Aether tends to pull a load of 2s from the deck, and Rodeo you can really tailor into whatever you want to pull from the deck, and if that interacts and just... because it says whenever another, so if it just stacks those up, this might be interesting. It could be good in Deep Draw as well. We actually have a lot of 1-cost amulets in Haven, or Witch Draw cards. This could be useful in Deep Draw. Interesting card. I have a lot to say on this one, apparently, so it's interesting. I'll probably have a little testing around with it. Bouquet Believer. So we've got a 1-1 for 1. useful. We don't have many 1-drops in Haven, so this might be interesting. During your turn, whenever you draw a card, this follows Gaze Rush. Okay, so if we're doing a lot of draw spanning in Haven, traditionally not a thing we're good at. Could be fine. Enhance draw a card, get Bane. Okay, so this is the 4-cost 1/1 Bane Rush. I think that's fine. That's like standard rate for that sort of effect. It is usually cards that do this will be generating like followers in hand. Traditionally, it'll be like the Reaper Lady from Abyss who does that and gives you a skeleton or a ghost. And there's also, of course, Swordman from Swordcraft, the tutu. Oh, is he a tutu? His health doesn't matter. He kills himself every time. So yeah, this is on par with those. Maybe arguably slightly better. Drawing a card is better than a skeleton, in my opinion. Could see play. It's awkward removal. We don't usually struggle for removal. That's the more interesting part of this is the drawing a card rather than the removal. The removal side of this is actually the weaker side, but gives us a 1. Could see play. Protective Shell. Notably, this is another goddamn amulet for 2. This is quite interesting. It'll destroy this card, so no last word effect, so destroying this by other means ain't going to do particularly. Draw X cards, where X is the number of allied followers in the field of ward. Perfect. This is great. Genuinely great. A reward for ward players to actually like recover their tempo loss is usually the problem with ward as an archetype. Is following the Aether turn, you kind of gas out really badly. And the second Aether tends to be weaker, the third Aether tends to be dead. So having a good way to like refresh cards in your hand for cheap, following an Aether turn or following just playing a load of 2/2s down. 2-drops down, I should say. Yeah, it's pretty good. Draw for that, and even if you're not getting the full draw 4, draw 2. Drawing 2 for 2 is very good rate. The only thing I'd be a bit sad is drawing for 1, but to be fair, turn 10, Vera into this isn't the worst thing I've ever seen. So it's good. It's just good. You can also pre-play it because amulet. And if you pre-play it, you can pre-play it on an early turn, and then when you've got enough wards down, trigger it, and you're solid. Good card. Ooh, Prescient Priestess, I think that's what that says. We've got a 3-drop, 2 ward. New ward for the thing. Select an enemy follow on the field, do 2 damage to it. Okay, that's relatively competitive for the 3-drop slot for wards. 3-drop wards in Haven are rough, if I'm honest. So we have 2 quite good ones. One being, of course, Galleon. Although Galleon does not play towards an aggressive place, she plays way better into a control play pattern, and therefore getting multiple Galleons doesn't actually advance your threat level. It's incredibly defensive. We need the other competitive 3-drop for a good while towards was Grim, and you genuinely do not care about Grim as a ward. You care about his effect once, and then he's just a 2/3. So having good 3-drop wards is something that Haven's actually lacked. That's an actual decent effect. Unfortunately, terrible body to Aether turns, but you know, we're making up for that by having a little bit of interaction. 2 damage, not great. It is select though, so we're not doing random. We can pick off targets. There are things still lingering health, I believe. I'd like to pick off, personally killing the 6/1 from Puppet Portal. Guaranteed. Not bad. Replicate this effect, that's damage. Fine. That's all I'd say, it's fine. I'm not impressed by it, but it's mainly because it is a 3-cost ward, and 3-cost wards traditionally have been quite medium. Malice of Mistbloom, another Haven card. This one, turn a card from your hand to the deck, draw 3. That is a lot of card draw 3. That is that's net neutral, but it allows you to get rid of like late game tricks. Make stuff like Sandalphon better in the deck, because you can reshuffle them into the deck to get its crest activated. You can also throw away additional copies of late game bombs you don't need. So, for instance, Aether big example of it. Aether, Rodeo, any card like that, you can kind of send the second copy of them back into the deck. Do that. You can also send back stuff like amulets and wards for those cards that are too back. Sometimes having the ward or amulet in hand is actually a downside because it means you can't play it for free with your like two. Decent, interesting. I'd say that's probably the most playable of these draw cards I've seen, other than maybe the 1/1. It's neat. I wonder if we're gonna get any real big payoff on our draw. Resolve the Mist Bloom. It's another amulet. Fanfare, select an enemy following the field, deal 5 damage to it. Very competitive damage. That's now the most damage we can do on 3, because that's now beating the previous winner of Holy Bat, the good old 4 damage and heal for 1. That's better. Engage, destroy this, return 2 cards from your hand to deck, draw 2. There's a lot more tutoring. Okay, more card draw, more tutoring. Sorry, not tutoring. More shuffling back into the deck. Clearly not wanting to give us too much card advantage, I agree with. It's in an interesting spot. 3-cost amulets tend to be the best amulets to draw from Rodeo, just bigger value. This one is in a usually not great spot for that. A lot of the value I see in this is from the Fanfare, meaning Rodeo Toot is not great, and in every other scenario this is just a worse dinner feel. It could be neat. Once again, deep draw. If we get deep draw, great. Like, if there's something we're going towards. Behemoth General, neutral, 4/5. If the sum of the 3 highest base costs in your hand is higher than your opponent's, destroy all enemy followers. It's a dragon card. It's a secret. That's really good in Dragon. Wait 1 second. That is really good in, like, the dragons that traditionally had one giant issue for them, which is they cannot answer early boards efficiently in the greedier list. And usually how Dragon wins is by playing either it's usually the greedier list. They usually want to play those greedy lists, get to late game, mana cheat the hell out of their, play point cheat the hell out of all cards in deck, and then just, hit you face until you're dead, right? This gets rid of one of their issues. Not bad in Haven. We tend to be able to play a little bit higher. A lot of our best cards being like Beam, Vera, Rodeo, Aether, all in those high cost slots, means we can get away with a few of that. The thing is, I don't think of many decks where true guarantee. We'd have to see what the big cards are to see how playable this is in Haven. As it stands, I don't think it's worth it in Haven. I don't think we can reliably trigger this effect. We already have decent board clears on 4 and 5 through Selfie and Blinding, but impressive. Definitely good in Dragon though, from what I would be able to tell. Hey, this is one of our legendaries. So Finna, Inspiring Strength, 4 bad stats, but that's fine. Stats aren't everything. Select the mode. Let's select. Okay, so versatile. Either evolve this or evolve another random unevolved allied follower with ward. Give it a +1/+1. Okay. So it's an evolve ward payoff. Good for Sandal. One of the issues Sandal had in Haven as a whole is that we didn't have many good proactive evolves. We had the Amulet, which was bad for the most part. We had Galleon, who's not proactive, very defensive. And then other than that, we were relying on very generic stuff like Ivia, Gran. It was just, we couldn't trigger this. This gives us a trigger for it. Ward is a good place for that to be. It's the mid-range deck, and Sandal could work as a very good finisher to end that deck off. Usually, Haven as a whole has terrible finishes, so the neutral pool is where we get all our finish. Personally, last set I was playing Gillis in the sort of Crest Amulet deck as my finisher. That plus Shinings, where Sandal in Ward specifically could be an incredibly good finisher. It allows you to really value trade your way up, and it removes a bit of the reliance on stuff like Marwyn, because Marwyn is such a powerful card and effect. I'd like to see board decks be able to differentiate themselves more from Marwyn. This could be a good way to do it. Bring it to the Sandal gameplay. They themselves are a ward, of course, not tutorable from Aether just because they're a 4. That's good because most of the value in this card is from that fanfare. Haven't read the last effect. At the end of your turn, if this follower is evolved, all other followers on the field get minus. Oh, okay. We don't particularly care about the -1/-1 too much because our followers tend to have fat asses. Enemy followers, though, this could be quite detrimental. Reducing attack and health, so sometimes it can go towards wiping the board, but not always. And yeah, neat. I think that's going to really pivot ward towards the evolved package and give a bit more versatility and strength to that. I don't know if you'd still play Galleon in that. I'd probably play like 1 or 2 copies of it, but I think this all leans towards an aggressive sort of mid-range. Like Goddess of Starlight neutral 5/5. No effects, it's a vanilla. Evolve like 3 cards in your hand, discard them, add the exact copy of 3 leftmost cards in your hand. That sounds like Disney. That sounds absurdly iffy. So this is a dangerous. Actually, no, it's not Disneyland. You're discarding 3. You can purposely tutor. Because if you have 6 cards in hand, you can choose which 3 you're close. This is terrifying. Normally, if you're playing a more control or defensive game plan, or even an aggressive game plan, you can plan around your opponent having a limited supply of their best cards. For instance, once you've survived the second Orcus puppet, you can be confident that the third Orcus probably not in their hand and probably still in the deck, but you know there's only one more Orcus to deal with. With this, that makes the chance of double Orcus dramatically, and the chance of having to deal with quadruple Orcus is also very scary. I think it's more scary in the aggressive strategies because aggro burst cards are stronger than defensive cards. Yeah, it's even an evolve. And her herself is quite shit. That is a scary effect. I don't know how playable in Haven that is. I don't know how playable in those other decks it is. If you're doing mana cheating stuff, this seems gross. You do need a minimum of 6 cards in hand for this actually be neutral. 7 cards in hand. Oh. Scary. I think this is the scariest neutral I've seen so far. I don't think the board clear guy is that scary. I think he's for what they're doing in terms of defensive cards, he's about right. Weirdly enough, just because of how this game works. But yeah, that could be terrifying. That could be gross. Neutral, draw 2 cards. 2 5 is fine. Destroy a random enemy follower with the highest attack. Also fine. Okay, so this is just not a straight upgrade on the 4 class. Destroy strongest follower, deal 1 across the board. This is a bit more like kill 1 big fucker, get some card advantage. +1 on card advantage. Could be argue +2 because destroying an enemy follower, but enhance for 10, deal 4 to all enemies. So as an enhance for 10 though, there's no cheating enhances. Not the worst effect I've ever seen. I'd probably actually consider this to be quite good. God, I wish they had swapped the enhance and destroy random enemy follower around. Because this would just be a more expensive blinding event. Better than blinding. Dealing damage face. Ooh. It's hard to evaluate. The neutral. In terms of Haven, I don't think we need this. I think we have a better option than Haven. But if you're playing like slow forest, I like this in Slow Forest. If you're playing Undying? Unkilling Forest. This... I like this in that deck. Yeah, hard to say. Yeah, not great in Haven, I'd say. Desperate Shireman. So what are we looking at here? 5+1, 3 terrible stats. Draw a card. I don't like that. The rest of this have to be pretty good to make up for this. During your turn, whenever you draw a card, deal 1 damage to all enemy followers. Hey, now that's part of that deep draw payoff. This being at 5 and being so squishy, rough, no ward or keywords to make this better in combat. It is by itself 5 mana, 1/3, draw a card, deal 1 to all enemy followers, can be evolved at the same time it's played for damage wipe. So we're thinking this is Apollo for 2 extra mana with card draw attached. Now it does have a lingering effect, meaning late game you can trigger this with some other stuff to get wide board clears. This could be playable in that deep draw deck, but we need a payoff. This isn't the payoff you're looking for. Clearing the board isn't good enough. You need a win con. So could see play. I'll have to let's see if there's a win con. Saint of Rehabilitation. Fanfare, restore 1 Ancilia. Nice. I don't think anyone's going to complain at a little bit of healing. His stats are once again not good. He does have ward this time though, which is nice. During your turn, whenever your leader has their defense restored, summon Box of Purity. Okay, so he's not a 2/3. He's a 3/6. In 2 bodies, meaning double procs for will. This is good. This is very good. So one of the issues with Ward Haven is almost all of their abilities to shit out followers are tutoring. So you're getting better followers on average than most other players because we are choosing to play these followers, but we are ripping them out of the deck. Thinning our deck, which is a good thing, but it means we have a finite supply. This is why the second ether tends to be weaker and the third ether tends to be. This is different. This is more what Sword and Forest and Abyss are doing, where they are generating followers. They're making followers. We actually don't have many. It's the first card of its kind you can play in Haven where we're making followers. He's quite interesting because him by himself, he's creating 1 follower, but any additional healing where we can preempt stacking, or like sandal triggering or anything like that, that's additional fellas. That's not bad. Okay, so there's no difference between evolving. Why did we clarify? Replicate the effect of this card's fanfare. Do you feel that's an unnecessary line of text, given that super evolving does the same? Unless this double triggers. So unless this heals us 3 times? I have no idea how that interacts. I'm going to evaluate it based on, because of how they worded that it will trigger 3 times. That means on a super evolve, you're getting him plus 3 Fox's security. That's solid. That's not bad at all. I'd actually consider running this in a Marwyn deck, once again pivoting more towards the ward side of things, because you can get the Supplicant heal us for 1 at the end of every turn. This means he's a 5 mana. What is it going to be? 4/9? 4/9's good. 4/9's preventing a lot of damage. This is a good amount of wards for the cost. Yeah, I like it. He's good. He's probably going to see play in something. Or is this our other legendary? Yeah. Oh god, you can hear my chair the entire time. Very sorry, squeaky chair. So we got Kukishiro Mr. Bloom. I butchered. Kukishiro? Cookie. Who? Is it Ku? Kukishiro? Kukishiro. We'll go Kukishiro. That sounds bad. Kukishiro Miss Bloom. Oh, he gives us a crest. 1 second. Before. 1 second. So, instantly, this is a playable card. He gives us a crest. Let's see what he does. So, gives us a crest. Return 2 random cards from your. In the crest. Okay, we'll read the crest later. Return 2 random cards from your hand to the deck, draw 2 cards. Random hurts. Random hurts. We could get rid of some really good playable cards with that. Draw 2 cards, so they are replacing themselves. He's net neutral on draw. Triggers those on-draw effects. He has Rush, he's a 5/5, so he's trading into the ball without an evolve. Doesn't have an evolve effect. Thank fuck for that. Haven, as it stands, is very evolve green. During your turn, whenever you draw a 1, 3, or 5 cost card, summon a Purity or a Holy Fang. During your turn, whenever you draw a card that's 2, 4, 6 cost, so Purity Buff. Sorry. Oh. I see. Okay, so what it's saying is if you draw a 1 and a 2 in the same turn, you get 2 triggers, but if you draw 2 1s, you only get 1 trigger. No! Oh, wait 1 second. Oh, no, wait, I'm dumb. Okay. Okay, right. No, I'm dumb. Right, I didn't read for an enemy. Ha! So all we're gonna have to say is ha. So there's some Marwyn protection for you. Would that be enough for me to consider? Let's face it, you play Supplicant, you play Congregate, they're both in the odd, they're beneficial. Most of the other card draw cards are good. Really hurts specifically Will and Marwyn. Am I willing to get a guaranteed crest though? Gets up to 4 guaranteed. Don't like giving them. I'm giving them 1/3s and I don't think. I think that's fine, provided we don't draw 2. Okay, I like him. I think we can find a place for him. That's gonna require some brewing. We're gonna have to really limit our 2s. God, Holy Lion's a 2 as well, and Blinding Faith. There's a lot of 2s and 4s I play in that deck. Not many 6s, it's just Will. But like 2s and 4s, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of 3s though. I play a lot of 3s. 3 and 5 would tend to be it's gonna need some like real like deck shifting to try and min-max that in the Crest deck. Or in the Taunt deck. He's weird. I like him. He's weird. You're playing pure odd. This is. Let's see if we can make odd. Right. Neutral, legendary. Okay, these tend to be horseshit. Every set has released at least 1 neutral legendary that's completely changed the meta, and I've just seen draw 8 cards. Let's read the rest of it. 8 mana, 8 HC's expensive. She's expensive. 8-fold glory. Select the mode. Draw 8 cards. Okay. So a full refresh or draw 2 cards. Or manage? How much do I care? A lot. I really care, actually. Let's see. You play. Oh my god! If you can shuffle, there's a lot of ways to shuffle specific cards into your deck. You could do something funny with that second. Or if you're playing just big boys, that second thing. Once again, this seems like it would see play in Dragon. I'd love this in Dragon, especially the one with like half the cost of your entire deck, because then you're just doing the draw rate and then big value. It's hard to say. I don't think we're playing this in Haven. I think that's too slow of a turn, unless you're truly out of value. We don't tend to run out of value often. Yeah. Haven. 4/4 for 8. That's got ward. Very good. Hey! Paladins. So he's making himself. He is 8 mana. What? 16/16? That's not bad. It's which you can see we can amp that. He could be like 1 or 2 copies. He's in the 8 slot though. That's really rough because Jean is very, very good. Is a bit more of a win more, but she does clear an enemy board and she can play with Spider. And Vera's very... It's not removing anything. Yes, a lot of stat. And that might be enough. Stats don't always... I can imagine playing this after an Aether turn, though, being backbreaking rough. It's... Okay, that's all of them. A pretty strong set. Pretty good. Yeah, I think this is pretty strong. What I am seeing, though, no draw payoff. The payoff for the draw is summoning a load of 2/2s and 1/3s. It has occurred to me. This payoff here, if you're odd, could be good. I don't think that's good enough on its own. We'll see. I could be wrong. This could be like the best card ever. I'll have to try them out in a couple of different brews. But that's it. See ya.